Hello. Today we're going to be seeing the effects of what happens when you take advice from mentally ill people. Ready for this one? Turn up the cheat. How creative of you, Rachel. All women should have an affair once in their life. It made me feel sexier and look younger. Interesting how that fucking logic works. Completely backwards, but let's find out why. If you think having an affair is an absolute no-go for you, think again. You are massively missing out. Yes, you are massively missing out on infidelity, creating multiple mental illnesses and depression for your partner. You are missing the fuck out. Instead of getting help when you're unhappy in a relationship, just cheat and expect your partner to take you back. Fucking genius. I also love how she's saying, women, cheat, it'll make you feel good. If that's not the words of a feminist, then I don't know what the fuck is. Her logic is, women should cheat because it makes you feel good. But by that logic, wouldn't men also feel good by cheating? But you're only encouraging women to do it. Typical feminist logic. Anyway. Nothing beats the buzz of sneaking around behind a partner's back, or the rush of an adrenaline from the fear of being caught in the act. You're sick! And let's get a nice image of this disgusting... Look at this. Look at this fucking woman. Of course... I can't even say it, but... Look at her. This is the woman who's trying to tell other women to cheat on their fucking husbands. If you're an adrenaline junkie... and you need to feel that high, there's other ways to do it. And here's the funny thing, too. For you, it's not actually about the cheating. You're basically saying that you're just basically bored, right? You're bored. You don't have that oomph in your life. Not just in your relationship, but you don't have it in your life. You feel bored. You feel like there's nothing crazy going on. But there's multiple ways of doing it. You're just taking the easy way out because that's what women are able to do. Men, in general, have a much harder time in the dating world, therefore have a harder time cheating. So, you acknowledge how easy it is for women, but you're using that to your advantage. Every woman should try it at least once in their lives. More than a quarter of women who cheat feel more attractive and 22% feel younger, according to a study by affairs website Illicit Encounter. Yeah, I also invested in Bitcoin by going to bitcoinworks.com. Or I became a feminist and learned all about the wage gap and how it's a business truth by going to feminist.com, not Business Insider. I went to feminist.com. Yeah, I'm sure that's a very reliable source. And let's pretend for the sake of this conversation that it actually is a true source. Of course you're going to feel more attractive because you get the feeling of another person wanting you. It's a crazy thing, but that doesn't mean you should cheat. You can get the feeling of, feeling beautiful and wanted by your husband if you just fucking work on your relationship, you dumbass. And that comes as no surprise to me, I'm sure. My affair made my skin glow. Was that because you rubbed in the... Never mind. I feel both youthful and energized. I didn't need Botox or a gym membership when I had my bit on the side. And if you weren't a disgusting whore, you could go to the gym, but I know going to the gym is more work than cheating, right? That's why you didn't want to do it. I was in a steady but mundane... And there we go, she admits it. So it really is just boredom that made her do it. Relationship with James. When my head was turned 4 years ago by a married man at work. Because you can't control yourself. Many people see married people at their job or whatever. You can't control yourself. It was not as though I was looking to cheat. Yeah, you kind of were. But after a year with James, 1 freaking year, the initial spark had fizzled out. Now, allow me to put on my counselor hat and tell you that what you need when that spark fizzles out is counseling. There's ways to bring that spark back, you dumbass. Do you think you're special? Do you think you're the only fucking person who has had the spark fizzle out? You would have a hard time finding a couple where the spark did not fizzle out, you fucking idiot. And guess what? Men feel that way too, but according to you, only women should change. So suck a dick. Well, actually, I shouldn't be telling you to suck a dick because you're probably doing that right now anyway. But this is why you're such a piece of shit. Because you are a inconsiderate, high maintenance, and immature bitch. Most people are not going to go and cheat because the spark fizzled out. They go get help or look for ways to make it interesting by incorporating new things into the bedroom. Doing that whole roleplay crap where they pretend that their partner is someone they just met, or they go on a vacation, or you do things to bring that spark back. There's many things you can do, but in your head it's just, well, cheat. In the early days, he'd lavished me with meals in fancy restaurants, bought me flowers, and made me feel like the center of his universe. And there we go. Now you admit to being high maintenance. See, again, everything she's saying is just contradicting itself. You don't even really care about things fizzling out sexually, which is what most people consider a reason for cheating, because the sexual aspect is what fizzled. Hence why you go looking for sex. But here you go complaining about fancy meals and flowers. You're just high maintenance. You're a gold digger, and you're a piece of shit. And I really hope that poor James knows what you were doing and has gotten the fuck out of there. You don't deserve him. God. I mean, it is so common for relationships to stop doing these things. How much money do you think a guy has, especially in our modern world where most men are going broke? Most men barely have enough money for that first date. Not that they should be paying for it anyway, because according to feminists, you want equal rights, so you should be paying for half your meal anyway. But the point is, most men can barely even afford that these days because we're all fucking going broke. And because after a year of that shit, your husband stopped and all of a sudden you go cheat on him because of it? Fuck you. I had never met a man like him who was completely obsessed with my happiness. Women like you cannot be happy because you keep expecting more and more. Sexy underwear. Ugh. Without warning, though, cracks began to show. I cannot put my finger on exactly when or why it happened, but the fun nights out became boring nights in and I felt invisible. Well, with a body that big, it's hard for you to become invisible, but the point is, even if you did feel bored, why didn't you just fucking say something? You just went behind his back and cheated. There are so many things you could have said to bring that spark back, but you didn't even try. When James did not have his head buried in his phone, he was on his game console. Did you say anything? I was 38 and I could feel my youth and confidence slipping away. I gained about 2 stone in weight, finding comfort in chocolate and cake. We see that. Yet the more I tried to talk to James about how I was feeling, the more he clammed up. Okay, so now you get some insight. Apparently, James didn't really care, so I take that back. But this is still your fault. Why, you may ask? Because in relationships like that, you should be fucking leaving. Leave him. Say, James, I'm not happy with you. I'm bored and I feel like you don't care. I want a divorce. You don't go cheating, causing poor James a whole bunch of problems like depression, PTSD, anxiety, and all kinds of things, and fucking with his life. That's not what you do. If you're bored because James is a boring asshole or whatever, or he treated like you were invisible, then get a divorce and go find someone else. Like, fuck, if he's so bad, what was your goal? To cheat but stay with him? I thought he was so boring. Just leave completely. But I forget, he probably had money, right? So you have your boy toy on the side, and then poor James to still buy you everything you need to look at you. Look at you. I wouldn't even buy you a freaking Pop-Tart. If I tried to spice up our sex life with sexy underwear and killer heels, he spurned my advances. Sometimes I caught him looking at other women in the street. You're going to complain about him looking at women when you're cheating on him with other men. Genius. So when Andrew began flirting with me on a work night out, I felt flattered. He was 10 years younger than me and estranged from his wife. Even better, so you cheated on your husband with a man who was also married. Aren't you fucking classy? And again, I reiterate, you could have just divorced James. And I mean 10 years younger. Well, it's no wonder he made you feel younger, because he is younger. After a few drinks, we ended up back at his place having incredible, passionate sex which lasted longer than James's 10 minutes. Wow, you are disgusting. I never experienced a rush like it, and as we laid together afterwards, planning our next secret rendezvous, I felt alive for the first time in years. Yeah, bloody, bloody, blah, blah, bullshit. Going back to face James after was not easy, but having spontaneous sex with Andrew was all I could think about, and it erased the guilt. Oh my god. So just having good sex erased the guilt of you hurting, like damaging your husband. Go to hell. I became meticulous about covering my tracks, and the prospect of being caught out became part of the thrill. Imagine that. Imagine taking thrill in the act of damaging your husband. And then, because of the world we live in, this is the kind of woman who would divorce and then get all of his stuff. Andrew and I met up whenever we could. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I put a lock code on my phone so James could not check my messages, and I always made sure it was on silent mode. I even concocted a story about how I had enrolled on an evening dressmaking course. Another time I conspired with a friend who called me to arrange a night out while James was in an earshot, and instead of meeting her, I went to see Andrew. You're disgusting. You're just a horrible person. Although the deceit made me feel guilty, yeah, I'm sure about that. In the beginning only. Oh, only in the beginning. You pushed it aside when you could have just filed for divorce. Sex with Andrew was fun and spontaneous, and I could not get enough, whether it was in a hotel room or on the back seat of his car. One time we had sex. Oh, did you even attempt to have sex with James in the back of his car? Just wondering. One time we had sex in my living room in the middle of the day when James was at work. If those are not the words of a classic gold digger, then I don't know what is. I drew a line at doing it in me and James's bed because changing the sheets would have made him suspicious. Lady, you are the worst human being I have ever seen. Imagine these morals. Most human beings, which you're not, most human beings would have said, I'm not going to do it in me and James's bed because that's immoral and that's where James sleeps and that's disgusting. Your thought process for not doing that is, I may have to do some housework. What does that tell you about how lazy this woman is in her personal life with the house chores, that she wouldn't even do the fucking bed sheets? Like, how dirty are your bed sheets? If you don't clean your bed sheets at least, like, let's say once every week or every 2 weeks, if you clean them so little that he would be suspicious at you cleaning them, they must be fucking disgusting. Like you. Andrew made me feel young and sexy. Unlike James, he complimented me constantly at a time when I needed it most. I don't really need the answer to this question because I know the answer, but did you ever compliment James and make him feel like a king? I guarantee you didn't. Like many women as they get older, I had become insecure about my body and needed a boost. Isn't it interesting how you say, like many women, but yet most of those women don't cheat and you did? Kind of indicates to you that it really has nothing to do with, feeling old or feeling ugly. Because if other women can feel the same way and not cheat, what's your excuse? Women, never say never to infidelity, because if you are being taken for granted and your fellow will not listen, then it is fair game. Incorrect. Because if the roles were reversed and he cheated due to you not making him feel special, you would call him a disgusting pig. Like, let's look at the obvious double standard here. If James did the exact same thing, you would call him a pig. You would. You would call him a pig. But because you're a woman, because you're a whammon, it's okay. It's not fair game. It's never fair game. You should have filed for divorce. It's that simple. 3 months on, and after 2 years together, James ended things too. Thank fuck. I hope he's with a better woman. Rachel is now 46 and still searching for the one. Well, isn't that shocking? And if you don't get it, allow me, Matt's FTR, the genius, to explain. The reason why she's still searching for the one, and she has not managed to find him, is because every guy she has found has not been good enough for her, because she thinks that she's special. She's so fucking high maintenance that no guy can ever satisfy her or live up to her expectations and demands for cars, homes, gifts, money, etc., and apparently sex. That's why she's struggling to find the one, because she can never be satisfied. It's that simple. Men cheat all the time, so why can't we? And let's end on this stupid fucking comment. Just like in a previous video where I was talking about how stats and facts are literally created. They're done by, surveying 10,000 people, and they create a study. And the reason why studies always change every year, like different rates of people doing this and that, is because 10,000 people is a very small percentage to the whole freaking world, and you always survey different people and therefore get different results. But the stats on cheating are pretty even throughout, and what the stats show is that men and women are almost 50-50 for cheating. Almost. I think men might cheat a little bit more, but the percent is pretty close to 50-50. So when you say shit like this, men cheat all the time and women don't do it very often, fuck you.